transgender Americans in the U.S. military. According to the official U.S. government website, the requirements for joining the U.S. military are to be a U.S. citizen or a green card holder, speak, read, and write English fluently, currently live in the U.S., be healthy, be 17 to 40 years old, with certain age requirements for different branches of the military, have a high school diploma, or a GED depending on the branch of military, pass the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery Test, and to attend college to join as an officer. Waivers for conditions that may disqualify you are medical reasons, mental health, criminal background, education, moral, or age, but there is no guarantee of a waiver. The topic of who is allowed to fight in the U.S. military dates back as far as the Revolutionary War. Women often disguised themselves as men in order to fight for their country. They were often found out when they were injured and had to be sent to receive medical attention. Obviously, they realized the soldier was a woman, and they were often simply sent home. However, once the soldier was found out, some women were imprisoned. Women were allowed to join as a nurse with permission out of necessity since the Revolutionary War in 1775, and finally allowed to join as permanent members of the military in 1948 when Congress passed the Women's Armed Services Integration Act. The Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy was a military policy signed by President Bill Clinton in 1993 that prohibited openly gay and lesbian Americans from serving in the military. Of course, this was a setback for LGBT Americans, but in a way it actually allowed queer people to serve in the military as long as they weren't open about it. This is because the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy also prohibited the harassment of any closeted individuals. The policy was eventually repealed by President Barack Obama in 2011. This was a huge step in the right direction for equal LGBT rights. Then comes 2017 and President Donald J. Trump. On March 23, 2018, the White House announced a policy that would ban most transgender people from serving in the military. This policy is centered around the history and/or diagnosis of gender dysphoria, a condition in which one's psychological gender identity does not correspond with their biological sex. The Pentagon's policy prohibits military service for people who experience gender dysphoria, assuming they may require substantial medical treatment, such as medication or gender reassignment surgery. Exceptions specified in a memo from the Pentagon include people who have been, quote, stable for 36 consecutive months in their biological sex prior to accession, service members who do not require a change of gender, and troops who started serving under the Obama administration's policy before the announcement of this memo. The annual Defense Department Pride event has been hosted by the Pentagon since the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy was repealed. Of course, due to Trump's transgender ban on serving in the military, this event was quite ironic, as there has been comparison between this policy and the very policy whose repeal is being celebrated. Douglas Wilson served as head of public affairs for the Defense Department during the early Obama years and was the first openly gay person ever confirmed to a senior Pentagon position. He was the recipient of the DoD's Pride Civilian Leadership Award at this event and delivered a speech upon receiving the award. Wilson claims, quote, "That is when I knew Don't Ask, Don't Tell was going to be repealed because I knew then that the military was not separate from the society in which we lived in and reflects the society in which we live."
For me, my family, they have been in the military. They have a history of being in the military. And when I grow up, I want to do many things with my life, and on my list is to be in the military. So if I'm in the military fighting for my country, where they're supposed to support me back, how am I going to do that if I'm not allowed in? Woo!
And all I ask is for the same goddamn rights that we disabled veteran.
I just felt more like a second-class citizen. I felt like he was basically telling other people we're not worthy of being in the military, we're not worthy of the same things that everybody else has. You know, rights were taken away and people were hurt, and you know, I'm not one of those people in particular because I've never served, but I do know friends who have served who are trans, and I know that hurts them, and it makes them feel terrible.